Resolve another serious threat to world peace, a crisis that puts the Middle East at ground zero and demands of all of us an urgent response. Last September, when I was scheduled to be here, Israel and Palestine were deeply trapped in violence. On both sides, despair and cynicism were hardening. The chain of action and reaction threatened the future not only of the Palestinians and Israelis, but of the entire region, a region that is part of the economic, political, and indeed the spiritual lives of people around the world. Since then, the situation in the Middle East has become even more grave. Today, we stand on the knife's edge, and the dangers is not only to the region, but to the world. The violence, confrontation, occupation that we have recently witnessed tells us plainly the Middle East needs a new approach to peace. The incremental negotiating model in which parties gradually build confidence and slowly move towards an undefined outcome, I believe that this model has run its course. To say this is not to diminish the importance of the advances we have made in the past few decades. The Madrid conference, spurred by the direct personal leadership of President Bush and Secretary Baker, did set the standards for results. Palestinians attended in a joint delegation with Jordan, and discussions began on vital, practical concerns. The Oslo process that followed bridged the gaps, broke taboos, and made gains. And as recently as last year's Mitchell Commission report and the Tenet ceasefire agreement, leaders across the region were expressing a strong, shared desire to break the impasse and move forward. But ultimately, for the Middle East peace process to achieve lasting peace, for Palestinians and Israelis to invest their lives, energies, and trust, the people on the ground need to see results. Real security, viable independence, and a future of hope. And today, no one can dispute that this hope has been sharply eroded. In its place, misguided perceptions have grown on both sides. That suicide bombings are a productive road to freedom, for instance, or the equally mistaken idea that tanks can subdue a legitimate popular cry for independence. How do we get back on track? Well, today I believe we need less process and more peace. A peace that resonates with both Israelis and Palestinians, credibly addressing their fears, concerns, and hopes. A peace that is independent of the wills of leaders. A peace that once again focuses on timely, practical results. Now, skeptics might argue that this is not possible given the hardening that has emerged in public opinion on both sides. But to these I respond that if today's crisis has made the divisions deeper, it has also made the issues clearer than ever before. Indeed, even while the conflict rages on, there is an internalization process in the minds of people on both sides of the proposed solutions to these thorny issues. But I have to say that both peoples are exhausted, and they are ready for peace, a peace that will allow an Israeli mother to send her child on an errand to a local supermarket without fear, a peace that will allow a Palestinian mother to deliver her newborn alive at a hospital and not at an Israeli roadblock. To end today's violence, conflict resolution must replace conflict management. This requires an approach that focuses sharply on the ultimate goals and principles of peace, as well as a strong, timely, and effective international leadership to bring that resolution about. The fact is that given the present conditions, neither Israelis nor Palestinians are capable of taking the steps needed to reach a reasonable final compromise. Only the international community, under strong American leadership, can guide the parties across the divide. For its part, Jordan has reached out over many years to take the risk for making peace and attempting to sustain it. Our country has a significant stake in peace. We have a tradition of leadership as a stable, moderating force within the region. We have direct interests in major aspects of the negotiations, such as defending the right of return and compensation for Palestinian refugees on Jordanian soil. And we also have other concerns. Although Jordan succeeded in achieving 4.2% real growth in GDP last year, compared to 2.1% in the neighboring countries, experts tell us that the region and the situation costs us at least 1% per year in real growth. And that drain impacts on a whole range of national priorities, from making sure families get food on the table, to building our technological infrastructure, to giving our children the education they need to succeed. Let me be clear. We will never see a truly stable, prosperous Middle East until the Arab-Israeli conflict, and in particular, the Palestinian-Israeli situation is solved. So towards this goal, we have taken the risk for peace, but we really can't stand alone. It is our collective responsibility to unite against those who don't want peace to prevail. So today I call upon the United States to seize this historic moment, to create a new peace alliance for the Middle East. Under its umbrella, the US-led coalition of European, Arab, and other countries will provide the support that is needed, security, economic, and political, by both Israelis and Palestinians.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Palestinian Corner from Montreal, and this is our 33rd episode devoted to King Abdullah II of Jordan. He became a king in 1999, indeed a model king, especially to an Arab regime. Abdullah was born in Amman to King Hussein and his wife Mona, a British-born princess, and he became a crown prince and again in 1999. Abdullah began his schooling in Amman, later on continued his education in England and USA. He studied political science and Middle East politics and military studies. After graduation, he assumed command of Jordan Special Forces in 1994 and became a major general in 1998. In 1993, he married Rania, Yasin, who is of Palestinian descent, a Jordanian, of course. The king holds wide executive and legislative powers and serves as the commander-in-chief of the Jordanian armed forces. His country witnessed waves of Iraqi refugees and then an influx of Syrian refugees into the natural resources lacking country and the emergence of ISIS. The Dome of the Rock and other Muslim and Christian holy sites in Jerusalem are under the custodianship of King Abdullah, a position his ancestors held for decades since 1924, during the days of Sharif Hussein of Mecca. The king maintained his father's moderate and pro-Western policy and voiced support to the 1994 Israeli-Jordanian peace treaty. Abdullah cracked down on Hamas' presence in Jordan in November 1999. The king exiled 4 Hamas officials to Qatar and barred others from political activities in Jordan while closing their offices in Amman. King Abdullah's policies heavily criticized by the Islamist positions parties, including the largest opposition group in the country, the Islamic Action Front, the political arm of the Muslim Brotherhood, who accuse Abdullah of anything he does, although at one time managed to obtain 22 seats out of 80 in the parliament. The king made it worse, in their opinion, when he amended the election law granting women for the first time a 6-seat quota in the parliament. No, to make it worse, the king gave an interview published in an American magazine and called the Muslim Brotherhood a Masonic cult run by wolves in sheep's clothing. Whoa, that was heavy. In December 2012, the king became the first Arab head of state to visit the West Bank after a vote at the United Nations General Assembly that granted the status of Palestinian Authority to a non-member observer state. Jordan viewed an independent Palestinian state on the 67 border as part of the two-state solution to be of supreme national interest. Following Donald Trump's inauguration as United States President on the 20th January 2017, Abdullah was worried about the new administration position on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, especially on issues relating to Israeli settlements and a Trump electoral campaign promises to relocate the American embassy to Jerusalem. Abdullah had a chance to meet Trump shortly and reportedly succeeded in convincing the president to shift his policy toward Israeli settlement, a claim substantiated by Trump's press secretary's surprising comments 2 days later. The expansion of Israeli settlements may not be helpful in achieving peace, and it is early to decide on the location of the embassy. الملك عبدالله ملك المملكة الأردنية الهاشمية منذ 7 فبراير 99 بعد وفاة أبيه الملك حسين، ولد في 30 يناير 62، متزوج من الملكة رانيا والتي من أصول فلسطينية ولديه منها 4 أطفال. مش هطول عليكم وأعيد كلامي باللغة الإنجليزية لأنه ممكن ترجمته وترجمة خطاب الملك فوريا بسهولة لو دخلتم صفحة البرنامج على اليوتوب وكبستم على كلمة CC أسفل الشاشة مباشرة، وستجدون ترجمة حرفية وفورية للغة العربية و185 لغة أخرى. في عام 2014 فاز عبدالله الثاني بوسام التميز لأكثر الشخصيات تأثيرا في العالم من قائمة الملوك والرؤساء وكبار السياسيين خلال التصويت الذي دشنه المجلس الدولي لحقوق الإنسان والتحكيم والدراسات السياسية والاستراتيجية. هو طبعا متعلم في بريطانيا وأمريكا ودارس علوم سياسية وعسكرية. هو حقا في رأيي مثال يحتذى به للحاكم العربي، يلقي خطابه كما لاحظتم باللغة الإنجليزية بدون ورقة وخطاب راكز وفوكس، لم يحيد عن موضوعه، لا حشر فيه آيات قرآنية ولا إنجيلية ولا راح يسرد تاريخ مختلف عليه ولا شتم نتنياهو ولا حمل المسؤولية لدولة عظمى. هذه القيادات يسمحها العالم لأنهم يفهموا ما يقولوا. لو كنت الرئيس الفلسطيني لرحت كل مؤتمر دولي بصحبة الملك عبدالله وزوجته وقدمتهم عن نفسي ويتحدثون بلساني كأب يرى أملا في أبنائه. كل التقدير والاحترام للملك عبدالله وحرمه والملكة رانيا، حقا بيرفعوا الراس دوليا.
Well, today, peace demands new approaches and new mechanisms. But our overarching goal remains the same: peace, freedom, and opportunity for all human beings. This is a mission that is at the heart of the American enterprise. And today, more than ever, the world looks to the United States to lead. Thank you very much.
Palestinian